Carolyn.
Hi, Lindsay.
Welcome to the Shift series.
Thanks for having me. It's awesome.
I'm so excited we were able to schedule this. We have been in contact for quite a while, and you have a very busy, full schedule, so I feel honored that you have been able to work us in here today. You also have a lot of transition going in your life. You are an MD who is embarking on a really exciting transition and new journey, so I'm excited to introduce you to the tribe and hear a little bit about your story.
Thanks.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about the work that you do and your roots in medicine.
I've been a colorectal surgeon for about 10 years now, and I've been in traditional medicine. I started medical school 20 years ago. So I've got 20 years of pretty rigid background of how to do medicine and how, the science and that one-dimensional, we just look at the body type of training. I have 20 years of that training.
Yeah.
And I've also, during that time, really gone on a spiritual journey for myself and started to see that without that spiritual journey, I could put all the good food into my body I wanted to. And if what I swallowed it down with was anger, bitterness, and stress, my body still didn't do what I wanted it to do. Yeah. I still was tired and achy. I mean, I got to this point where 5 out of 10 pain was a good day.
Oh, wow.
And it was tolerable. I didn't even take anything for it. I just lived with it. I was just always in pain. And, it's a very physical job. I'm a surgeon, so I'm working a lot and with my hands up over my, up around my shoulders. And it's a physical job, and I felt it. Every day I would go home and I felt it. And what I started to see was that when I started to put the spiritual element into things and started to take care of my emotional well-being. Mm-hmm. So I was listening to Arianna Huffington yesterday, and she talks about well-being, wisdom, and wonder. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, that is just so brilliant. That's what we really need for healthcare. Is well-being great, but wisdom and wonder are so important.
Oh, it gives me chills.
Yeah, just getting that. There's so much more to life than get up in the morning, eat some kind of cereal for breakfast, drink some kind of coffee or tea or whatever your caffeine of choice is, have another cup on the way to work, go to work, get to work, have another cup of coffee because God knows you're really tired. You didn't sleep that well last night. You don't feel that good. And that food you had for breakfast this morning just isn't sitting all that well. Right. And then you get to work and there's a meeting and you sit through a meeting and you're bored and you're picking at your pencil and playing with your computer and messing around with your cell phone, just trying so hard to focus, but you can't focus. And then you go to lunch, and lunch is something you catch on the run. And then you come back from lunch and you sit down at your desk and you try to figure out what the hell did we talk about at that meeting this morning? And what am I supposed to do with that information? And what if my boss yells at me because I wasn't really paying attention? I didn't really get it and I'm not sure what's going on. And then, 6 o'clock rolls around and you get in your car and you drive through traffic and you sit in traffic for quite a while and you're sitting there in traffic and your stomach's burning and your shoulders are aching and your head's hurting. And you go home and you get the house is a mess and there's nothing for dinner and there's no food in the refrigerator and you grab whatever little snack you can get your hands on and order dinner.
Right.
That's not a life.
Right.
And many, many, many of us are living that life, and I was living that life. Yeah. And I started to see that I didn't want to live that life anymore. I didn't want to sit in traffic. I didn't want to sit in meetings. I didn't want to and do stuff I didn't care about.
Right.
And don't get me wrong, I'm a doctor.
Yeah.
I care.
Yeah.
I care so much. But living within the constraints of traditional medicine, of here's a pill for this, here's a pill for this, here's a pill for this. Oh, let's do surgery and we'll fix you right up. Oh, that surgery didn't work. Let's give you another pill, and then let's see if we can do another surgery. Oh, that one didn't work either. Okay, try some more pills. These other ones over here. Let's have you see a specialist for this particular problem like that, and then come back and see me, and we'll get you on another pill, and maybe we'll do some more surgery.
Right. Right.
How does that work?
Yeah.
And so many patients would come to me hoping that I had the answer for them.
Yeah.
And that my surgery was the answer for them.
Right.
Because that's what brought them there. And I started to see that I love to do surgery. I love to take care of patients. But I started to see that that wasn't the answer anymore. That way that they were running their day was what was hurting them far more than whatever I was doing to them surgically. Yeah. And that if they could get to a life that they felt fulfilled by and that they were enjoying and brought beauty and peace to their lives and full of wonder.
Yes.
Wonder what it's really all about. I mean, we're on this incredible, gorgeous planet.
Yes.
We got so lucky to be put on this planet that has life on it.
Yeah.
And we sit in a room in the dark with a desk and a computer, and that's what we do.
Yeah.
So I just started to see that, like, first of all, I had to put my money where my mouth was. Mm-hmm. I had to start living that life myself.
Yes.
I had to stop drudging through traffic and eating a terrible diet and ordering takeout every single night. And I had to stop doing that. So I stopped doing that. I started to live a real life, and I started to do more self-fulfilling, fill me up kinds of things, because if I'm not full, I have nothing to offer to my patients.
Yeah.
And what I want to offer to my patients is a full, whole life, all of their life. Not just like, let's take this bump off and your butt will be better and then it'll be fine, you'll be great.
Right.
Go back to that traffic and that job you don't like.
Absolutely. If you're going to do the work, let's do it to move forward into something new.
But so then what happened is that the more that I did that, the more that I saw that I couldn't just keep doing this anymore. Yeah. That I wasn't willing to sit there and write people medications and do surgery on them to fix something that wasn't really the problem.
Yeah, absolutely.
And started to see that it's really just time for me to, instead of taking care of some paper doll patient, to make the patient 3D, a whole being that's emotionally, physically, spiritually stable and happy and satisfied and filled up.
And that is why we're talking together,
so because that's really what I want to do.
That's the stuff that lights me up too. We call it whole wellness. We call it full circle for a reason, because you may have come to your healing journey through Lyme disease or colorectal cancer or who knows what, or divorce or loss of some other kind. We all enter into it through different doors, but you come to a point where you realize exactly what you're describing, which is the way out of that is to look at yourself as a whole being and to begin to make changes not only to your food and your sleep, but also to your connection to source and your connection to joy and wonder and all these great things you've mentioned. So what were some of the steps you took to embrace that spiritual wonder side? How did you make the shift?
The biggest thing that I did, and it's not the easiest thing in the world, I started to look at who I really was. Yeah. Was I kind? Was I patient? Did I like myself? Did I like people? Was I being responsible for how I presented myself in my life? Yeah. And where were the weaknesses? What were the things that I could improve and be a better, not just a better doctor. I'm happy to be a better doctor, but a better person.
Yeah.
Somebody that is nice to be around, somebody that you get something out of enjoying time with, instead of just somebody who goes, oh God, today this happened and that happened. Yeah. I tended on the morose side.
Yeah, sure.
I wasn't a happy person. I was a whiner and a complainer, and I didn't want to take responsibility for myself.
Yeah.
I was telling you earlier that I had this conversation with a patient yesterday, and I wasn't nice to her. And she called up back and said that I wasn't nice to her. And I called her today, and I'm like, I am so sorry, because I don't want to be that person. Yeah. I want to look at myself really honestly and see who I really am. And yep, I'm impatient sometimes. And yep, I'm a downer. I can be real Debbie Downer if I'm not watching myself, and especially if I'm not sleeping enough or eating enough.
Yeah. So
I really took a close look, and I started to work on those places in myself that were not perfect, and also to embrace those places that were not perfect.
Yes.
To start to see that some of those places are just me.
Yep.
And what it's, I can't fix all of them, but I can love them.
Yep. So there's an unconditional love piece that comes in. An awareness, it sounds like, seeing yourself. And then there's also this unconditional love piece that allows us to not only see ourselves in a new way, but to allow and receive. And that doesn't mean, and there's a nuance there, because sometimes I think people can get stuck on, this is just the way I am. And
that you can get complacent.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to be complacent.
Right.
But at the same time, you want to understand that other people are struggling with the same things and going through the same situation for themselves.
Yeah.
And maybe they're not as patient with themselves as I am with myself. So it's my job to be a little bit more patient with them.
Yeah.
But it gives me a much better ability to be, instead of going, oh, that patient is just whiny, I'm not going to apologize. I was right.
Right.
It's not going to change anything. It's not going to make it better.
Yeah.
Maybe I was right. And maybe she did know what she was supposed to do, but it doesn't make it better. It doesn't resolve the situation.
Yeah.
So, having patience with myself allows me to have more patience with other people.
Absolutely. So a really fun thing happened with you too on this journey of seeing yourself in a new way and holding yourself accountable, but also opening yourself up to the wonder and joy. You, running concurrent to this, had this interest in law of attraction and manifestation. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about how that wove together.
It's interesting because I read The Secret.
Yeah.
When it came out, probably 6 years ago, I read The Secret. I watched the movie. And I was interested in it, and I actually remember I started my own business, and I wrote myself a check right before I started. Actually, I didn't even know I was going to start this business.
Uh-huh.
I wrote myself a check for $100,000, and I wrote a date on it, and all of that stuff. And sure enough, the date that check was supposed to be written for, I was at my tax accountant doing my taxes, and he said, "You made over $100,000 last year, running my own business."
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, I wrote that check like 3 years ago before I even started this business. And I started to see the places where, you can be however you want to be every day.
Yeah.
But if you keep your vibration high, you keep it in the realms of joy and love and even just forgiveness.
Yeah.
Then things happen for you. And if you keep it down at the bottom, all of the depression, sadness, hopelessness, even if stuff happened, you wouldn't notice.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So you have a choice every day where you're going to have your vibration. And you know what? I have days my vibration's just down in the pits. That is how it is, and that's what happens. But I really strive for keeping it up in the higher realms on a daily basis.
Absolutely.
Because that's what works for me.
Absolutely.
That's what keeps me going every day, and it's what allows me to keep, I manifest all kinds of things all the time. I'm constantly, like, for example, one of the stories that I tell myself is, money comes to me from nowhere. I don't have any reason to believe that any more than anyone else does, but when I believe it, money comes to me from other places. And when I don't believe it, I get nasty bills from the tax people. So it hasn't hurt me to believe that. It doesn't hurt me anymore.
And it's fun. And it's tied into that wonder piece you talked about.
Yes. And it allows for that open gate to spirituality,
yes,
to the love of the universe. I mean, that's really what it's about. People think the law of attraction is you write down on some piece of paper, this is going to happen, and it happens. Well, if that was true, then, for one thing, we'd all be at cross purposes all the time, because I might want something that's dead opposite of what somebody else wants, and we both want it for the same thing.
Right.
So who's going to get it? The person with the higher vibration.
Right.
So in order to get what you wrote down on that piece of paper, you have to believe it.
Yeah.
Heart and soul.
Yeah.
It has to be true already when you write it.
Yeah.
That's how the law of attraction really works.
Yeah.
It has to be true when you write it, and if it's not true when you write it, you got to figure out some way to make it true.
Yeah.
Because how it is out in the world is the after effect of how it was in here.
Absolutely. So I think one of the potential pitfalls of the law of attraction and The Secret, not that it isn't fun to manifest the thing and the money, is that we miss the gems in the manifesting even the little things within ourselves. And healing and wellness are obviously two that I'm very passionate about. It's how chronic wellness and Full Circle came into being. So how can we bring these two together? What recommendations do you have for someone around their vibration to help manifest shifts in their wellness or health?
Well, like I said earlier, you can eat the best diet in the world, but if you're not keeping your vibration up and you're letting your vibration get down and depressed, and then you're not going to digest your food as well. You're not going to get the benefits of the food. You're not going to get the benefits of whatever supplements you take. Meditation, which I fully, wholeheartedly believe in, isn't going to make as much difference for you because you don't really believe in it.
Right.
So I feel like it's so much a faith thing. You believe in it and it happens. Mm-hmm. You believe you're going to get well, and the circumstances arise around you that allow for that.
Yeah.
And it might be a different doctor. It might be a new diet. It might be a book someone gives you. It might be a crystal. It could be lots of different things, but you're open to it. You allowed for it, and you asked for it. You created it. So I do feel like if the new doctor shows up and you go, I don't really need a doctor. Well, maybe for that's what, if the universe keeps throwing doctors at you, probably you need a doctor.
Yep.
The universe keeps throwing supplements at you, probably you need a supplement.
Yeah.
Let the universe keep speaking to you, and don't just go, well, I don't need that. I have total 100% faith that I'm just going to get better and I don't need to do any of those things. I have a story that I tell a lot. It's about a woman in a flood. And the flood warnings go out, and they tell her that she needs to evacuate because she's in the flood zone. And she says, no, God will protect me. God will protect me. I'm not worried about it. It's not going to happen. Well, so pretty soon the flood happens, and she can't get out her front door anymore. And the rescue people come by in the big SUV, and they try out. No, I'm not leaving. I don't need to leave. God's here. He's going to protect me. So then eventually the water gets to the second floor of the house, and she has to be up on the second floor of the house because the first floor of the house is completely flooded. And the rescue people come by in a canoe, and they try to get her out. She's, nope. I'm not. God will protect me. I'm not worried about it. So then finally she's got to be up on the roof because the whole house is full of water. The flood waters have gotten really high. The helicopter comes to get her, and she says, I don't need you. I'm taken care of. God's got me. I'm protected. So then she drowns, and she goes to heaven, and she gets to the pearly gates, and she says to St. Peter, I don't understand what happened. I have complete faith in God, and he didn't protect me. And she said, I sent you an SUV, a canoe, and a helicopter. That wasn't enough for you?
That's so great. And yes, so it's paying attention and receiving what comes our way, even if it doesn't look like what we think it will look like.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are some of the things you do personally to align to this vibration or to open yourself up to a higher vibration way of being?
The biggest thing for me is I have a daily spiritual practice. Mm-hmm. So I'm a Reiki master, so one of the things that I do is, I don't necessarily do the same thing every day, but I do Reiki pretty frequently. It's funny because one thing that I do every day pretty religiously is I have a bottle of water by my bed, and I take a whole bunch of supplements in the morning when I first get up. And so I Reiki my water every morning, and I Reiki all my supplements.
Nice.
So that's my littlest. If I can't do anything else, that's my littlest thing. I meditate every night before I go to bed. A lot of days I write down the things that I'm grateful for, and I try to do like a 40-day practice where over that 40 days I can't write that I'm grateful for the same thing twice.
Oh, how fun.
To be super specific about what I'm grateful for. So I write down every day 10 things, and it can't be the same 10 things. So that's 400 things I got to be grateful for over those 40 days.
I love it. That's fantastic.
And they're all different. And that's a lot for most people to be grateful for 400 things. We don't really look. I know you do your gratitude practice, so I know you're on the same page with me on this.
I love the gratitude practice. Yeah, we are definitely on the same page. It's hugely transformational.
So, and to be honest, I pray a lot.
Yeah.
I'll sit in the car a lot and go, God, I know I've had my heart closed. Let me just open my heart up and let you in, because, it's been a tight day, and I haven't been the kindest person. So please, come fill me and come, please let me be open to you. And that might be the best prayer I can come up with for that day, but just to be open, to allow Spirit to flow through me.
Oh, I love that. Well,
I personally, I just never could picture a universe that didn't have a creator.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be the same creator for everybody, but I just couldn't picture it without it.
Me too. I love that wonder and awe of it all. Mm-hmm. Well, this has all been so huge. I love to conclude these shift interviews by asking the expert if there were just one thing a person can do. Maybe they feel like it's insurmountable, or they've tried things before, or, they don't even know what step to take. What is one thing that you think a person could do to, because, this is why I do this, Carolyn, is because I feel like sometimes people think it has to be the huge leap. And because I made the huge leap, I left my career and I moved to the country, people say, see, Lindsay, but actually what I learned having made that huge leap is you're the same person after you leap as you were before you made the leap, and it can be, and it often is, the tiniest, most subtle little shift that ends up changing the trajectory of your life. So if you could make one recommendation of one thing someone could do, what would that one thing be?
Look in the mirror every morning and say hi to yourself. Get that you are who you are.
Yeah.
And over time, start to love that person you see in the mirror.
Oh, that's so big. Carolyn, thank you so much for joining me today for this shift series.
Fun.
It was so fun. I hope we'll do more. I'm really excited for you on your journey, and I have such gratitude for you and for your walk in this world. These deep roots in medicine, now bringing in a new way of looking at health and wellness and spirituality and manifestation. Yep. And it's just an honor to be a part of your journey. So thank you for including us.
Thank you. It was fun.
Fun. See you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.